You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Neighbor here from Drakewing Gaming and Sunny Mountain Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Polar Night. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Was this where I paused it? I do not think so. Reload. Oh, there we go. The Aran. Okay. Alright, let's go back to the save. There we go. The new run. There, cool. Alright, y'all. Initially, I was skeptical. We received so many letters since the disappearance. Well-wishers mostly, but a shocking amount of hucksters offering psychic help or private search opportunities. This one was different. Sharif actually had a loved one on board, and we recognized him from news reports and interviews. But Sharif had failed to persuade international search efforts to resume. Instead, he would be privately funding a voyage. He couldn't afford to fund it entirely, so he needed help. And so he made the offer that any family member who wanted to contribute to funding the search could participate if they chose. Mom obviously leapt at the chance. Despite my misgivings and protests, she took out a substantial loan on top of the cost to get me here. One she'd be repaying for years to come. So, what about you guys? Who are you bringing home? His voice shook me out of my thoughts. Bringing home probably had very different connotations to them compared to me, and likely Aran, too, judging by his expression. My brother, Connor. He was a mechanic. Oh, funny you should say that. Tabby's studying mechanics. Gail raised her voice a little, loud enough for Tabby to hear a good few paces ahead of us. Unsurprisingly, she didn't respond, leaving Gail to give the back of her head a frustrated look. What about you, Aran? My sister, Carrie. She was a navigator. He mumbled, barely audible. His confusion was replaced with an extremely uncomfortable look. Oh, of course. Carrie Marsh. You look a lot like her, you know. Gale gave him a cheery smile, but I could see he was uncomfortable. Now it made sense why I recognized him when I first saw him. Images of Aran crew members had been a fixture of news reports for months. So many personal stories of people whose lives had been cut tragically short, accompanied by grainy photos showing them with friends, family, lovers. Grim memorials played as an ongoing drama for a public that rapidly lost interest as the months without news dragged on and on. I remember the photo of the pretty young Lapine investigator. The resemblance was uncanny. Oh, you don't say. Yes, she's very pretty. I can't wait to meet her. I'll bet she has a tale to tell. I felt my stomach clench, and this time I avoided looking at Aran. There was no mockery in her tone. She was serious. She thought they were still alive. When I felt the vibration in my pocket, I was grateful for a chance to momentarily tune out the conversation. I pulled my phone out, seeing I had a new message. Hey, love. You arrive okay? It was Mum. My history had 7 messages from her, all stuff I'd missed owing to the somewhat unreliable signal out here. All some variation of have you arrived yet, or you on the plane? I typed back, I'm okay, in Svalbard. Talk to you later about to board the ship, before slipping my phone back into my pocket. I'd need to remember to send her a message before we departed. While the Sylvia had satellite internet and phones we could use to contact the mainland, we'd been warned about this unreliability. I didn't want to lose contact and have her worry. As I tuned back into the conversation, I realized we'd arrived at the harbor. Before us was the MV Sylvia. I knew it was chartered for just 8 of us, but for some reason I expected it to be bigger. It didn't look much from here. A top deck and main deck, and presumably a lower deck. It looked more like a tourist ship than a search and rescue vehicle. Still, I come this far, and for a penny. Waiting for us at the boarding ramp was a shark girl chatting idly with 2 others. She seemed quite cheerful. Her voice carried over to us as we approached, light and enthusiastic. When she spotted us, she immediately grinned and waved, beckoning us. Then there was a tigress, who upon our approach gave us a piercing stare. Not hostile as such, more analyzing. When she locked eyes with me, she gave me a searching look before crackling a smile, too. And the final figure was a huge guy, a Servine who, while not as tall as Sharif, was much more muscular. His deep, booming voice echoed across the quiet dock as he laughed heartily at something the shark girl had said. Sharif strode ahead of our group with long strides and utter confidence in his form. He smoothly extended a hand to the shark girl, towering over her. Without missing a beat, she beamed and accepted his handshake, saying something I couldn't quite hear from my position. He turned, facing us all as our group arrived. The stag and tiger shuffled around so we formed a semicircle around Sharif and the shark lass. May I have your attention, please? Allow me to introduce myself. I am Sharif Abdi, and I am responsible for this expedition as its principal financier. But we are all here for the same reason, to find our loved ones, or their fate. There were a few uncertain glances amongst our group. Once you are all on board and settled in your cabins, we will review the itinerary and how our search will be conducted. This is June. She is the ship's stewardess and your point of contact for the voyage. She will tend to your needs and answer your questions regarding the ship and its rules. Hello, everyone. Pleased to meet you. She waved at us with a cheerful grin. I will meet you all in the lounge at 11:30 p.m. Please be punctual. Without waiting for a response, he gave June a curt nod and strode up the ramp onto the deck before disappearing inside. Well, if you would all kindly follow me. 1 second, y'all. Water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's go ahead and jump back into it, shall we? Okay. She beckoned to us in our motley group. After a few mutual glances, we gathered our bags and cases and moved towards the boarding ramp. I paused at the foot of the ramp, drawing on my cigarette again. Gazing up the ramp gave me a sudden bout of anxiety. This was it. Point to no return. The final draw before flicking away the butt, I sighed and started my way up into the Sylvia. As folks filed in through the door of the ship's interior, June bobbed her head at each person as if making a mental head count. She turned to look back at me, then grinned and waved. I grinned stupidly and returned the wave. Her bright, cheery expression just seemed to help melt away the knot of anxiety in my chest, at least until I felt a huge hand on my shoulder. Prostitus vas. Nidetstia, Edgonka. I turned and saw a wall that hadn't been there before. A wall wearing a warm winter jacket. Slowly, my eyes traveled upwards until I saw a stern-looking face gazing down at me. A bull spoke with what sounded like a Russian accent, and even by Bovid standards, this guy was fucking gargantuan. My jaw flapped open a few times as I tried to get words out. Evening, Joseph. Finishing your rounds? She bounded up and behind us. I cringed as I realized she'd been waving to this guy, not me. Yes. Just wanted to know if I could have a light. He never took his eyes off me. He didn't seem to be trying to intimidate me. He just seemed very intense. The guy his size didn't need to try to be intimidating. Of course, no problem. I reached inside my pocket and produced my lighter. From somewhere on his vast bulk, he produced a rolled cigarette, placed it between his lips, and leaned down for me to light it. Shink! His nostrils flared as he inhaled, the tip of his cigarette glowing as it caught. Spasibo. He inhaled and let out a massive cloud of smoke and condensation from the bitterly cold air. Mine broke. Won't get the chance to replace it for a while. I felt a hand tugging on my sleeve. Let's go. Sorry, I don't think I caught your name. Oh, I'm Garrett. Pleased to meet you both. June Caverin, just in case you missed it. And this is... Joseph. I'm the bosun. Automatically, I extended a hand, which June shook with enthusiasm. When I offered it to Joseph, he also accepted. I tried not to think about how his hand almost engulfed mine. Come on now, let's get you settled. You must be looking forward to taking a load off. I gave Joseph a polite smile and nod as June led me off towards the ship's superstructure. I don't mind him. Joseph is a sweetheart. A bit quiet, but nice. She led me through a doorway where the others had entered. Immediately, I was hit with the comforting warmth of the ship's heated interior. An involuntary shudder went through me, as if my body was expelling the chill from my bones. As she closed the door behind me, the soft whistle of the wind abruptly stopped. We were in a lounge of some sort, a well-stocked bar complete with stools that stood to one end with a comfy-looking sofa nestled against the outer wall. On the other side was a large table with chairs set up around them, like a cross between a conference room and a dining room. This is the Explorers Club. Pretty neat, huh? Given the nature of this voyage, I'd almost expected a Spartan, grey, and drab utilitarian ship. I guess Sharif realized that if we were going to be searching the Arctic Ocean, we might as well do it in style. I'll give you guys the full tour, but first you should get settled. The stairs are just on your left, through that door there. She fished a set of keys from her pocket and handed it to me. Once you drop off your stuff, Sheriff wants everyone together back here. Got it, thanks. She flashed me another toothy smile before walking up the steps to the upper floor. There was a buzz of chatter and excited conversations from the cabins as I descended the stairs. The corridor for the cabins was a bit less swanky than upstairs. I could see the others of the open cabins, admiring their accommodations for the foreseeable future. A little over halfway down the corridor, I found the door to my cabin. Garrett Reed. I slid the key in and unlocked it. The first thing that struck me was the smell, a piney, woody scent. The room seemed a bit bigger than it was, thanks to the light-painted walls, with the mahogany paneling along the separating wall. Gave it a touch of class. I had a double bed all to myself too. Pretty sweet. In the corner by the door was a small sofa and a coffee table, on which a teapot and cups were already placed. I suddenly realized I was gasping for a cup of tea. Maybe more than a cigarette, even. I wouldn't call it high-class living, but for a ship cabin, it was pretty nice. Better than a lot of hotel rooms I'd stayed in, certainly. With a relieved sigh, I slipped my backpack off and placed it on the bed. My pack was matted and hot from my jacket and the weight of the pack. It had been fine out in the cold, but now we were in a cozy environment. I was sweating up a storm. I gave myself a sniff. It's hard to trust my nose from a few years of smoking, but I detected the unpleasant scent of sweat. I wonder if I have time for a shower. Hey Garrett, meeting starting. Of course not. Coming! With a heavy sigh and hoping I could perhaps sit apart from the others until I could wash, I made my way back into the corridor, locking the cabin behind me. Pretty nice, huh? Ugh, sorry, y'all, I just woke up. It's not bad, actually. I wasn't really sure what to expect. At least we might be able to see some neat stuff during the search. Wildlife, maybe an aurora. I wouldn't count on seeing much. This time of year we'll probably get polar night. Polar night? Basically when night lasts longer than 24 hours. Besides, this isn't a sightseeing tour. We're here for a reason. Sounds weird. Ugh, and after I brought my camera with me. A pang of irritation hit me at his whining. What do you think this was, a fucking holiday? Anyway, let's get going. I, for one, want to see what Sharif has to say for himself. Yeah, same. The three of us made our way up and back towards the lounge. As we entered the lounge, dude was behind the bar stocking some bottles. She gave us a cheeky grin as we passed. Sitting on the nearby sofa was Joseph. He had a cup of coffee before him and he was watching the gathering in the conference room with interest. Everyone was gathered in the adjoining dining room, seated around the large table with Sharif sat at the head. There was a smattering of conversation when we arrived. Sharif watched us with an intense look, his fingers steepled before him. Even with his stony expression, I could sense the irritation from him. I took a free seat beside the tigress at the top of the table on Sharif's right. Gail sat on the other side of her. Stefan sat beside our Aran, who gave him a courteous smile and nod. Now that we are all present... Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!